speaking, you don't want to take their time with a big introduction. So I taught for 24 years in Michigan. I retired from the classroom just about a year and a half ago. And now I'm working with the Foundation for Economic Education because I still have littles that need to be raised. And so kind of my second career in doing more curriculum development. And I like the fact that I get to, sit down and really take a deep dive into topics like insurance and try to bring it to life a little bit and bring a little bit of how I taught things in the classroom to try to make your life a little bit easier with some prep work about this topic of insurance. Now, I think a lot of people's idea about insurance is such a dry topic, a not fun topic, but I really think that by utilizing these commercials that are just constantly out there, that you can make it a different mental, state for your students as they come into the classroom and they get to learn about insurance. Now, some commercials have more insurance lessons than others. Some are just funny and, bring a smile to your face. But others are very good to instruct with. So what I got for you, and if you can't see it in the chat, I'm just going to pull it back up as a document that I've created that I'm going to be working off of today. I just put it back in the chat if you just joined us. And that document is going to have insurance video YouTube playlists. So I've got separate playlists for auto, homeowners, life, disability, and miscellaneous. And then a booklet game that we're going to play here in a moment with 15 questions, 10 seconds each, that you could utilize in your classroom as well if you'd like to utilize that booklet. And then below that, you'll see 4 different activities that I created because I initially went in saying, okay, I'm just going to create one activity. And then there were so many other things that I wanted to create that I just kept going. So the first one's going to be focusing on the commercials. And then the second activity will go more into decision-making, risk-taking, minimizing your losses through insurance with some little simulation games that I've created. And the third one's whether or not you should get the warranty. Again, trying to make a simulation game type of activity to get students in the position of making those decisions on warranties and at least bringing up those discussion points about those, because a lot of times there's not a right or wrong answer on these things. It's sometimes an emotional thing. If it makes you feel comfortable to get the insurance, and sometimes it's worth that peace of mind. And that's just reminded me of other commercials that I did not include in my playlist. There were peace of mind commercials from Allstate back in the day. I remember those, but those are not on their playlist of videos right now, so I did not search for those. And then activity 4 is putting students in the position of being the underwriter. I think that students learn a lot by doing and by being put in that situation of not going to get insurance, but rather if they're the underwriter, if they're the one determining whether somebody should get insurance and what that price should be, what those characteristics are that they should look for. And actually ChatGPT helped me create activity 4, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to that activity. So going to try to buzz through some of these things as quick as possible. We're not going to have a chance to go through all 4 activities, obviously, but I can at least talk through some and we can go through some on our own. So if you'd like a chance to do 2 things today. First of all, you attend and you create a Fee Learning Center account at fee.org/learning-center. You'll get a $10 Amazon gift card, but we're also going to give some Amazon gift cards to our Booklet winners. So I'm going to make sure that you have the link for the Booklet game that we're going to play on insurance. It's 15 questions, 10 seconds each question, so we'll buzz through it in about 3 minutes. But you got to go to that link. And this game is set up just like Kahoot. So you're not going to have to learn a new game or anything like that. It's pretty basic as far as how it goes. But Booklet does have a lot of other options there. If you've never looked into it before, it has like head-to-head competition with questions. You put in the questions, you put in the answers, and there's multiple different types of games to choose from to kind of vary your activities in the class. I'm glad everybody loves Booklet. Good. There's still people learning about it, so I want to make sure I describe that. So let's get some people in there. Again, we'll give some prizes to our winners today. I'll talk more about creating a Learning Center account toward the end of the session, but I definitely want to get going here. I'm going to share my screen. So give me 1 second to do that. All right. We're going to get everybody in here. Just give it another half a minute or so to get people in here, and then we'll start our Blick game on insurance. Kind of a variety of things. There's some statistic questions in there, some things that show how well they know the taglines of commercials from insurance, and also some terminology. All right, so let's go ahead and begin the Look It. All right, so who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two? Well, that's going way too fast. All right, so we've got first place is Emily right now. We'll go on to question 2. Who is there like a good neighbor? Kind of switched it around a little bit there to make it a little bit more difficult. All right, so there's our 10 questions. So our 10 seconds, State Farm was the answer on that one. All right, we'll buzz through our standings because that'll change a lot in the next handful of questions. Company's largest car insurance company by market share, which is the largest one? All right. It is Progressive. Progressive was, I think, at 14% is, I think, what it was of market share. All right, of the 4 listed, which is the smallest car insurance company by market share? I was surprised USAA was ahead of Farmers Insurance. Where they've got those catchy slogan, bum, 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 right? So I was surprised on that one. What about the amount of the loss? This is a term one. The amount of the loss which the insured is responsible to pay before benefits from the insurance company are payable. Oh, that term one, I need to move to 15 seconds. That 10 seconds is way too fast. That is a deductible. All right. Next one. Amount of money an insurance company charges for insurance coverage. That is a premium. Good job. Right, let's see where our standings are right now. Emily maintaining first. All right. Next question, 7 of 15. Provides coverage for any direct and accidental loss of or damage to your covered automobile and its normal equipment, to include but not limited to fire, theft, or malicious mischief. That's a 15-second one for sure. Sorry, got to make some adjustments. This is a brand new booklet, but I will do that so that it is adjusted for you. Reimburses you for damage to your automobile sustained in an accident with any other object. That is your collision. So what I would typically do with something like this is I would go through it a little slower than we're going through it, give me a chance to introduce some terminology with the students so they begin to be comfortable. Question 9, a temporary or preliminary agreement which provides coverage until a policy can be written or delivered. That would be a binder. All right, question 10. Notice to an insurer that under the terms of a policy, a loss may be covered. And that would be a claim. So even if you don't, if you let them know, it's still a claim, even if you don't get paid out. That was one interesting thing that I've learned over the years, is that you can make a claim and then realize that the repair is going to cost too much or not enough money, so you're not going to follow through with the claim, but you've already made the claim if you let them know about it. It's kind of interesting little thing there. Health insurance part of this stuff. Right, so disability insurance, they do classify in terminology as a health insurance part of insurance. Right, and French fries now in first. Let's keep going. We've got our last handful of questions here. Policy that will pay a specified sum to beneficiaries upon the death of the insured. I always love bringing this question up to students. Why do they call it life insurance? It pays out when somebody dies, and it really should be called death insurance. All right, last couple questions. 13, 14, and 15. Process of selecting applicants for insurance and classifying them according to their degrees of insurability. That is the formal definition for underwriting. You could also talk about actuaries being involved. There is a career choice for some of your mathematician students. What percent of U.S. adults have debt due to medical or dental bills for themselves or for someone else's care, such as a child, spouse, or parent? Statistic question here. Surprised me that it was that high. A lot of you thought it would be high as well, it looks like. 41% have that issue. All right, let's see. Emily, you are in third now. We've got our last question. Let's see how it goes. U.S. adults were asked, how long would it be before your household would feel the financial impact of the primary wage earner were to pass away? What percent said they wouldn't feel any financial impact at all? It was only 14%. Only 14% wouldn't feel any financial impact at all. And that gets you to talk a little bit about like when you need to get insurance, when you don't need to get insurance. And, if you're 30 years old and you don't have a family yet, financially, who does it hurt if you pass away? Or, if you're 60, I always tell my students, okay, my life insurance is going to expire when I'm 55 or 56, somewhere in that range. And try to explain to them like why I'm not going to have it at 60, but I'll have it at 55. So that discussion can kind of come from some of those questions. So that's how I like to do Book It. I like to go through Book It and Kahoot's kind of slow and use it as a teaching tool. And I'll make some adjustments on those timings for you, but you could also do that as well if you copied that. So French fry, I'm going to take a picture of the screen here so I can make sure that I give some extra Amazon gift cards to these three people. French fry, what is your real name so I know? Because I doubt that's going to be on your survey as French fry. Are they allowed to unmute, Kathy?
Jody Fry, sorry.
Jody Fry. Okay.
But my kids call me Miss French Fry, so there goes the nickname.
I love it. You have to smile when you say French fry. I mean,
right?
It's not like a sad word, Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Jody. So what I'm going to jump to now is a little bit more of the assignment. I'm not going to go through each of the YouTube playlists, but some of them I have a ton of. I'm going to just kind of show you what I have for auto insurance. I try to create the QR codes as well, just for making it easier for people who might want to utilize a phone to do that. So what you are seeing here is the auto insurance playlist. I've got 60 videos in here. There's no real order to them, just kind of thrown in here for you to go to. Maybe you pick and choose. It'll just be a resource for you, like, oh, I'm teaching insurance, so there's a great playlist. I don't have to go to YouTube. There's everything's kind of right here. I've got some commercials in here. I've got the insurance companies have really, and the key here is short explanations on what different types of insurance are, whether it's gap insurance or full coverage insurance, liability, uninsured or underinsured, comprehensive, what to expect during a car insurance claim. You can see that these are all minute or two type of instructional videos. And I have them from Allstate. I have them from Travelers, I believe, in here as well. But Allstate had a bunch of them, so I just kept adding to the playlist because they were really short, nice little chunks on things. This is, I think, a great discussion for students is, I drive for a ride sharing company. Am I covered? There's a lot of interesting insurance things with those types of situations. So what is loan or lease gap coverage? Learned about that a lot about 2 months ago when my daughter's leased car got totaled by somebody who just jumped out in front of her in traffic, and she was perfectly safe. I was there very thankful for airbags at that point. But really get into a lot of the in-depth stuff with insurance and how out of control when you lease a vehicle you are with the insurance company works with the lease company, not you. You're kind of just a third party bystander watching and hoping that all the numbers work out and that you're not going to get into any trouble there, because we had paid our lease all up front. So I was like, oh boy, am I going to get all this money back? Because the car's gone now. So that was interesting to learn about. So a lot of different short instructional video clips that maybe you would utilize as you go more in depth with this topic. And like I said, I've got them on homeowners, life insurance, disability, and miscellaneous. Right, and then there's the link to the Book It game as well, if that's something that you wanted to use that set for yourself. That link's available for you.
When did we buy that one?
I'm just gonna mute Hector there. Thank you. All right. So the next thing I want to get into is a little bit of the activities. What are students going to do? What could, how could I grab this and go and utilize my class on Monday? Well, that's what we have right here. And I put it in Google Docs so that you would have access to this, be able to make a copy of it and customize it however you want it. Clip it up, just use certain parts of it, however you want. This is available for you. So the link is in the chat. I'm going to make sure that you have that at the end if you don't have it right now. Sorry, I'm just messing with Zoom right now. All right, so what we're going to see here is first area is just welcome to insurance. What I have, how I set this up is you've got the QR code on the left, because my thought was the students might, instead of maybe they don't have it on a computer, they're not going to click the link. Maybe you're making a copy for them. They might have their phone and scan the QR code and be able to watch the commercial right on their phone if they're doing it individually. Obviously, if you're doing it with the class, you could click on the link in the Google Doc as you're presenting it to the class. And maybe you'd have this printout for them and you'd watch the video together as a class and then give them a moment to answer any questions that are there. So in the welcome to insurance, the Dr. Rick's ones are hilarious, but they really don't go through any type of instruction with insurance. If I didn't think that there was a great lesson that I could come up with insurance, I just grade the box out here. So the Dr. Rick one there is does not have a question associated with it. Whereas the TV Dad one underneath it with the new puppy does have a question associated with it. And then the students could put the answer in the merge cell kind of block right below that right there. So that's how this is set up. So let's watch a little bit some of these video clips just because they're fun, they're short, and they'll help put us in the right mind space for insurance. So let's start off with the Liberty Mutual Insurance Humans. This one's about 10 years old now, but it's a really good one. Make sure that we have the audio being shared with this. So give me 1 second to stop my share and start my share again. Why am I not hearing audio with this? Kathy, any idea why I wouldn't be hearing audio right now?
I
Okay.
actually heard it.
You did.
Yeah. Go ahead and play it again.
Okay, sorry. It must have been my computer. I'm not hearing the audio. So my computer speakers must have changed when I got onto, changed in my microphone when I got onto Zoom here. So I should be able to hear it now. I got my settings all set. Okay.
Humans. We mean well, but we're imperfect creatures living in a beautifully imperfect world. Sometimes the little things get us, and other times, the not so little. It's amazing we've made it this far. Maybe it's because when one of us messes up, someone else comes along to help out. At Liberty Mutual Insurance, we get that it's tough out there. And our job is to make it less tough. That's the thing about humans. When things are at their worst, we're at our best. See how at libertymutual.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
So that was before the emu, but that was a great just overall kind of idea of why we might need insurance. I think it opens up the discussion of what insurance is there to do. So I don't have any question to go with it, but I really just thought it's a good one to really introduce the topic of insurance to students as you did at Welcome to Insurance. Obviously, you want to do some of the funnier ones as well. We've got to watch a Dr. Rick just because I think that they're one of the funniest out right now. So we're going to watch one of those too.
This book has helped me reach so many young homeowners who have become their parents.
Hey, what's the lowest you'll go on one of these mugs?
Well, remember, no haggling in stores.
Ah, yeah, chapter 6, yep.
They may have read the book, but they still have a long way to go.
I was hoping to get your John Hancock on there.
Well, let's just call it a signature.
I noticed there weren't any refreshments, so I'm just gonna leave a couple of snackies.
Folks, the line's a shambles. Let's tuck it in.
Sir?
Come on. Come on.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
Okay, we don't need a line monitor.
So obviously in that one, there's not a real great insurance lesson. It's not something that I would use to teach insurance, but they're just talking about maybe wise decision making and bundling these things together. That's really all that they're going into in that one. But it's still funny, and I think that can also be a lesson to the students, right? Like some of these are going to be, just trying to get you connected with the product that they're selling, and others might be more informational levels. So let me delete this row here. All right, so the one that I'm going to show in the next category of auto insurance, I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is a new one out with Bad Luck Brian, who you probably know from a meme, and we'll watch that one really quick here.
Dang it. Dang it.
That's some bad luck, Brian.
And I think I'm late on my car insurance.
Good thing the General gives you a break when you need it.
Yeah, with flexible payment options to keep you covered. So today is your lucky day. Meteor!
Dang it.
For a great low rate, go with the General.
All right, so with that one, you've got Bad Luck Brian. I asked the students 2 questions, and again, you could do this discussion. You could have them write it down however you'd like. But this was just a general, as we get into auto insurance, general thing about insurance. You're paying to transfer the risk to somebody else of the light pole falling on the vehicle and of other things happening to your vehicle. And then want them students to also think about, where does an insurance company get most of its revenue from, and just how that pool works of insured people, especially when you're getting into a company like General, which kind of advertises itself on more higher risk people who might not be able to get insurance from other companies. As you'll see in this one down here, I'm just going to scroll down and play this other General commercial.
Everyone makes mistakes. But what if life was as forgiving as the General?
We'll take him.
You're in! At the General, we'll cover you, even with a less than perfect driving record.
Smell that?
So with that one, I think that's a good lesson to be able to follow up and say to the kids, like, okay, a company like that, they're, they are understanding. Yes, you're going to be able to get insurance. They might have lower criteria. You might have a bad driving record, still be able to get insurance with them. But what might be the other side of that with the higher costs? And that's the kind of question that I pose to the students with that is, what would you expect the General? Would you expect the General to provide low premiums, comprehensive coverage, and great service? Why or why not? Based upon kind of how they're advertising themselves. I'm going to scroll back up to the top of the document here with auto insurance, and there's one on Geico Pinocchio one. Doesn't have a lot of lessons with it, but it's a short, quick one that brings some of these other companies in with like Geico. I like always showing the jacked up State Farm car insurance commercial because I think it shows kind of the range of emotion and why insurance is needed to kind of get you back from a bad place, or maybe make you not go to that bad place because you have the insurance. So let me play this 30-second one for you.
This is Jules, VP of a ketchup company, about to
Call you back.
Is this my car?
State Farm knows that for every one of those moments,
This is ridiculous!
there's one of these.
Is this my car? What? This is ridiculous.
This can't be happening!
This can't be happening.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Oh, it's happening, sweetheart.
Shut up.
Shut up!
That's why State Farm is there.
What a day.
With car insurance for when things go wrong,
What a day!
but also here with car loans to help life go right.
All right, so that one I think can really teach that lesson of why you have insurance, to get back to that good place, and have that protection where you're excited, and just that, again, that range of emotions, how you say things, going both sides of that, from happy to upset and irate. So we talked about Mayhem, so we've got to play in Mayhem, but we're going to wait until we get a homeowner's insurance before we play the Mayhem one. But there's a Mayhem one in there. There's a LiMu Emu one where Liberty Mutual says they'll customize your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. And I thought, okay, well, what might be a problem with that promise? As you go through and watch that commercial, like, well, maybe you don't know what you need, and so to me, I always talk to my students and say, a good year is a year that I pay whatever amount of money to the insurance company, right? Like $1,600, $2,000 a year, and I don't ever use it. Like, I want to give them money and never have to deal with them. That's a good year. It's not like I'm like, oh, look I got some of that money back because I got in a car accident. Great, I win. But rather, a good year is paying out that money and not having to deal with, what did I get back from it? Geico pothole commercial. Personally, it's one of my favorite ones. Just the pothole. We got to play it just because it's funny as heck.
Oh no! Your tire's all flat and junk. Oh, did I do that? Here, let me get my cellular out. Call your wrecker. Oh shoot, I got no phone. 'Cause I'm a pothole. So... Okay, bye!
Accidents are bad, but Geico's good with emergency road service.
So personally, how I would use that one is I would say, okay, what would you want to pay for, extra types of things like emergency road service, or if your wheel gets damaged in a pothole, would you make a claim? Would you not make a claim? What's your deductible amount, and how much do wheels cost these days? I know that wheels can cost almost $2,000 each on new vehicles, depending on what vehicle it is. So you can start to talk about that versus maybe a used 2009 Ford Edge like I've got, where if that got damaged, I probably wouldn't make a claim, versus if our new car got damaged, I probably would make a claim, and how those answers can change even within your family, just by which car it happens to. So this is the power of these commercials, is really how it can open up the conversations about these topics. In wanting to make sure I get into a couple of the other activities I did, I'm going to just kind of scroll through and talk about a couple of these other ones here. The sting operation, like the plug-in devices, how do the students feel about that technology going into the vehicle to encourage drivers to, I guess, drive safer, but also how that could encourage drivers to run more red lights, because a lot of it's on how fast you stop and how fast you accelerate. And so, you don't want to slam your brakes and, get that ding on your progressive, little device that's hooked into your thing. So you're basically having to run a red light and maybe do some more dangerous things because of how these things work, and just talk about that a little bit with the students. And then at the very end, and I try to do this with each of the topics, is have more of an instructional video, like one of those 1, 2, 3 minute maximum instructional videos on just the basics of auto insurance. And they would go through very quickly here: auto liability, personal injury protection, collision, comprehensive, and uninsured motorist coverage in that short little 2-minute video. And the students could jot down some quick notes on that. All right, so homeowners insurance, another big area here with Allstate and Mayhem. And we're going to play a couple of these video clips and kind of just go over the rest of this activity before we get into some other ones.
I'm your cat. And ever since you brought me home that day, well, I've been plotting to destroy you. Sizing you up, calculating your every move. You think this is love? This is 1 billion years of tiger DNA just ready to pounce. And if you got the wrong home insurance coverage, you could be coughing up the cash for this. So get Allstate and be better protected from mayhem, like meow.
So, like for that one, when I would be in the classroom, I would say, okay, well, I had water coming down from my bathroom before. I'm sure a lot of you guys have situations like that as well, and talk about how we had to get our bathroom all redone because of the leak in the shower tub liner, and how that insurance process worked with homeowners insurance, and maybe how you have a higher deductible for homeowners insurance than your car, because it's less likely that you're going to make a claim. And if you do make a claim, it's usually a very high expense type of claim, so you might have a higher deductible. And all of these conversations can come from something that will, I guess the commercial makes the medicine go down, right? That's I think the approach you have to take to this. It's not like, okay, everything's in this commercial, but you're going to get students' attention. They're going to be listening. They'll be focused. They'll be wondering what commercial's next. And you can grab that magic moment there of attention to talk about and teach them a couple of things about how homeowners insurance might work, which is, again, otherwise very dry topic. So farmers, seen a thing or two, lawnmower that gets hit by lightning, a lawn tractor gets hit by lightning. And then I would say, well, would you really make a claim on that? To me, I wouldn't make a claim on a lawn tractor if it's used, probably, because I know how high a deductible is for homeowners insurance. Or the insurance companies sometimes have commercials out there that show you why you should not use your washing machine when you're not home, because of the potential dangers and how damaging that could be. And really that they're looking out for themselves, right? Because the less things that happen, the safer you are, the better it is for them. There's another Mayhem one with an exercise bike. We can play that one quickly as well.
I'm a fancy exercise bike newbie, and I've gone from 0 to obsessed in like 3 days. Woo! Come on, Milwaukee, after riding 12 miles of nowhere, I'm taking a detour. And if you don't have the right home insurance coverage, you could be working out a way to pay for this yourself.
And that's where I might say to, my students, okay, well, would I pay for that myself? Right? Like that's where the question comes in. If your homeowner's deductible is $1,000, the cost to replace the damaged door was $800, would you contact the insurance company to file a claim? Why or why not? So there's, again, discussion questions or individual answer questions that students could use as they're going through these commercials. We're going to play just, I think, 2 more commercials, and then we'll go over some of the other activities that are here and kind of talk through how those might be utilized in your classroom. So if you haven't seen this life insurance commercial, I think you'll all love it. And the question I ask the students is explain why this guy's family is all trying to kill him.
Hyundai Tucson versus Honda CR-V.
The commercial before this.
Hyundai Tucson.
All right.
Hi, hon.
Hi, honey. Okay. Oh, hey, Snowball. Nerd alert.
Hello, Father.
You know, Socrates said. Anyways, we'll talk later.
I didn't do it!
Ladder. Life insurance so good, they're gonna want you dead. I love you too, guys.
I just think that's the craziest commercial ever, right? For life insurance. But it does allow you to talk about that, you know, why somebody might have an incentive where if there's a big life insurance policy out there, right? And it just opens up that discussion about life insurance, which can otherwise be a very morbid topic. So that's the ladder life insurance one. And then more of an instructional life insurance made simple about term life insurance that I just asked students to report 3 things that they learned from that video. And that's more of that instructional 2-3 minute video clip. Disability insurance. Let's look at one of, well, maybe both of these ones. So Aflac, disability insurance.
Hope I don't miss work this Christmas.
Yeah. How will you pay for things like food, electricity?
Bingo bills. Gadzooks! You need a backup plan. That's why we have Aflac.
So I'll have cash to help pay bills.
Right, but what if you're still not better by Christmas?
Aflac. Ask about it at work. Rudolph's better. But now Blitzen's sick.
All right, so that one on Aflac, then another, the pigeon one's a more, or the duck one's a more common one, I guess, a more popular one. We'll play that one quickly because I think it teaches the lesson about what Aflac.
Boy, I'm glad we got Aflac, huh?
Aflac!
No, I've just got major medical.
Major medical.
But helps pay the doctors.
Where's the doctor's boy?
Oh, yeah? What about your family? We added Aflac, so we get cash. It's like our safety net. To help with the mortgage or whatever we need. So my family doesn't feel the pain, too.
Help protect your family at Aflac.com.
So with Aflac, you know, I think that the discussion with students is like, okay, what is Aflac? You know, it's an accessory to that medical insurance. The major medical insurance you have will pay for the doctors, but then what about if your arm's broken and you're a, you know, dental hygienist, you know, and your arm's broken, you can't work for 6 weeks. How do you have that income replaced during that time? And then I would talk about like, okay, you could either have something like Aflac disability insurance for short-term disability, or you could self-insure and have a savings account with 3 to 6 months of expenses for emergencies, right? So it's like you could either have that savings, or maybe if you don't have that, you could pay for the short-term disability insurance through Aflac, and why you might do one versus the other. I also have a couple miscellaneous ones here. This one's based upon an article. If you were watched the World Baseball Classic a couple of weeks ago, you know that the U.S. was struggling because they didn't have a lot of good pitching. You might not have known that Clayton Kershaw wanted to play, but he couldn't get insurance on his baseball contract with the Dodgers, so he had to step away from participating in the World Baseball Classic. A lot of players do this before drafts in college football as well now. And then also hole-in-one insurance. And it's different in Japan than the United States. In Japan, a lot of people get hole-in-one insurance in case they get a hole-in-one, because it's tradition to buy everybody, I think, drinks and food, and it can be very expensive if you get a hole-in-one. So they actually have hole-in-one insurance if they do get a hole-in-one, so that the insurance company pays for the party. But in the US here, a lot of times we see hole-in-one insurance with fundraiser type of golf outings, and a company pays an insurance company to pay out if somebody does get a hole-in-one during that event. So there's a little clip on that just to show kids the variety of insurance and how insurance can apply to so much more than just auto, home, and life and healthcare that we see. All right, so that's activity one. It's really the focus on commercials, and there's a lot there. And again, it's a Google Doc, so you can break it up, you can take things out, customize it however you want, and what your teaching style is. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple more minutes here to talk through the other 3 activities before we kind of wrap up and see if there's any questions. But activity 2 and activity 3 are both using random.org, and it's just a random number generator. And you're going to pick a number 1 through 10, circle it on the table below. So let's say you pick 7. And you're going to use that same number for each of your 10 turns on this random.org. Your option each turn is going to be to pay for the $20 insurance, yes or no. And then the money lost on that turn and the money remaining after the turn. So you're going to start with $300. And you again have the option of not purchasing insurance. You pay $0. If your number is picked, if I pick number 7 and I do the random number generator and number 7 comes up, I lose $200. If my number isn't picked, I'm safe, I lose $0. So the goal is you start with 300 to be left with as much as possible. So pay $20 to purchase insurance is your other option. And you could do that each time and be sure that you're left with positive money. You'd have $100 left. But if your number is picked, you lose $0, but you need to circle the $20 that you spent on the insurance. So it's kind of about minimizing your losses, taking some risk. You lose if you end up with, less than 0. You automatically lose the game if your money remaining after the turn goes below 0. So it would show you as you get, maybe you take some risk until the first time that it hits, and then maybe you get the insurance after the first time it hits. So just that different decision making that can happen based upon the situation changing. So it's a really short activity, and then some questions that follow that could be just used as discussion or given to students to answer. Activity 3 is somewhat similar, but it's based and focused on warranty situations where students have to decide whether or not they would pay for the warranty on 4 different products. So I have the instructions here for you, and the situation, basically the product. The first one's $150 pair of headphones. I kept, just for consistency's sake and less complication of the simulation, 15% chance that they would break in the next 2 years for all of the items, but the warranty price does change. So on $150 pair of headphones, do you purchase a $25 warranty? On the $50 toaster, do you purchase a $10 warranty? And again, it allows you the discussion of, do you need to pay to transfer the risk? Yes, there's risk. The toaster might break, but do you have $50 and you can just go get another toaster and save that $10 and just take that risk on yourself? And how that decision might change when you get to an $800 television or a $5,000 lawn tractor, and how you also have to take that, your behavior into account, how you are with things, as well as what the cost of that insurance might be. So that's, again, using the random.org. They're going to change the numbers to 1 to 100. If the random number is 1 through 15, we're basically saying it broke, and they would circle yes. And if it's any other number, they would circle no, and they're safe. And they're making those decisions to show, they could spend $6,000 total on these items, or they could spend $6,000 plus the insurance, and looking at their adjusted totals. So that that's what activity 3 is. And then last one is activity 4. And that is, you're the underwriter, and I use ChatGPT to create situations, I said, create a situation as an underwriter, determining whether or not, a high risk, whether they're a high risk, an average risk, or a low risk individual. So your task as the underwriter is to assess the level of risk to the company associated with insuring that individual and determine the appropriate cost of insurance using the pricing table that's right here. So each one has different factors on driving history, credit history, location, vehicle type, annual mileage, coverage, and the deductible. And they have to risk level low was 1, 2 is average, 3 is high. Obviously, if you have a low deductible, that's going to be a higher cost or higher risk level, low deductible, because you're transferring more risk to the insurance company. So they have to look at it from the insurance company's perspective in rating that person and then pricing out the insurance. So there's 3 different situations there. One's low, one's average, one's high. And they're acting as the underwriter. So that's one of my favorites. I like that one. It's pretty quick and puts students in that real life situation. So that is 1 minute away from me being done with time. So I think I'm going to stop right now, make sure we have time for people to bounce to where they need to go to, as well as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to stop sharing here in the chat. The
Yeah, can you put your links in there, Derek, for the stuff, because I don't see it.
Yep. This should be the link to the activities. Let me click on it and just double check. No, it isn't. Sorry. It is the link to the survey thing. Must have been the last thing I must have copied and then
Yeah.
So let me do that right now.
I'm going to put the attendance link up after he puts up his link. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.
There we go. All right. So